everybody, welcome back to Soul Studios. I'm your host Soul, and today we are talking about a longtime warrior's relationship that has aged horrifically. Brambleclaw and Squirrelflight. This video was voted on in my weekly poll, and the idea for it actually came from a comment on my last video talking about warrior ships from the Prophecies Begin. I release the poll every week. Go vote on it now to get a say in what video I make next week. Alright, on to this. Spoiler warning for anything and everything after the Prophecies Begin. You have been warned. Also, I have not read past Omen of the Stars, so I'm just an outsider looking in based on the bajillion Warriors videos I've seen and listened to. And also, as far as I've seen from Brambleclaw and Squirrelflight and what I've read. Brambleclaw and Squirrelflight! I remember enjoying this back when I first read the new prophecy, and I was very invested, because it took forever. They annoyed each other constantly. Right as you thought they were moving forward, they took 15 steps back, and then when they technically got together, they were fighting again 2 seconds later. And they were both wrong at points. I think that's important to note as we go forward in this video. This is not a Brambleclaw is better or Squirrelflight is better video. This relationship as a whole is not great video. And that some things are like that, and that there are a lot of things like that seem like a great idea in the beginning, but as time goes on, it's actually not a great idea. Even in the beginning, Squirrelflight and Brambleclaw were very argumentative. They did not get along. They were constantly butting heads. Even when they are getting along and are actually acting as mates should, it takes very, very little to get them riled up and arguing again. I didn't notice this as a young reader of Warrior Cats. I remember adoring this ship and thinking it was just everything that a relationship should be. Cue a video roll of me making bad choices in relationships. The reason I changed my mind about this has to be credited to two factors. Number one is growing up and having my own experiences. Growing up as a whole just makes one change opinions for the most part, or for me at least. I had a situationship where we would get along, but at the drop of a hat, we would not be okay. When I finally moved on from that person, looking back on it now, I feel like Brambleclaw and Squirrelflight actually really fit under that situationship umbrella. A lot of the time when Brambleclaw was actually trying to get along with Squirrelflight, it was to make himself feel better. It was because in the moments when she looked up to him as a warrior, he therefore felt better about himself as a warrior. This is not to say that he did not have genuine love for Squirrelflight. I believe that was there in the beginning at least. But there were also so many underlying issues that went along with that love that made it hard for it to always seem genuine. Squirrelflight also has issues. She expects a lot of Brambleclaw, and if he messes up or does not do what she thinks is right, she takes it as a slight against her. She has to make her opinion known, and while as an apprentice she can get away with this because she's literally a teen, there's immaturity there, when it carries over to her time as a warrior, it makes it harder to justify. She has a vision of Brambleclaw in her head, and when he does not fit that mold, she gets upset. Both of these examples are common effects in a situationship or even a toxic relationship, which at this point is what these two have. Number two is outside opinions. I am first going to mention Moon Kitty, who is one of my favorite Warriors content creators and has made many a video of her opinions on Warriors, and I highly recommend going and watching her video titled Brambleclaw is Worse, which delves further into this whole relationship and how it has a lot of toxicity and all the goings-on of that. I shall link it in the description. It is a bit long to watch, but you should definitely watch it. It made me really think on this relationship, and like I said, all the toxicity that goes into it that goes really unchecked for the most part. The second I'm going to mention is my boyfriend, PT, who is nearing the end of the new prophecy and is very confused about the Ashfur plus Squirrelflight plus Brambleclaw, who he keeps getting confused for Brackenfur for some reason. But he is not a fan of Brambleclaw and Squirrelflight, and I cannot remember his exact words on it, but I know he agrees that it is not great because they just don't get along. And then also my best friend, who forever agrees that Squirrelflight is best girl and Brambleclaw is garbage. It's interesting seeing from others' perspective to see what others think of this ship and to see how other people react to the fact that, yeah, a lot of what goes on in this ship is not healthy. Now, there are plenty of people out there who still enjoy BramblexSquirrel. I don't know those people, but they're out there. They have to be. I just personally don't like it anymore, and I think it's gotten worse as time has gone on. Even in Power of Three and Omen of the Stars, once Brambleclaw finds out that Squirrelflight lied to him about the three and their birth and their true mother and yada yada yada, that's it. There is no discussion, there is no talk, there is no forgiveness. They are done. They don't try to work it out, and for almost the entirety of Omen of the Stars, it's nothing but the cold shoulder between the two of them. The blame is not entirely on Brambleclaw. He was lied to, he felt betrayed. Squirrelflight is not entirely at fault either. She was protecting her sister and doing what she believed was right. But in the end, they both hurt each other, as they have been the entire time they've known each other. And even when they make up, as time goes on, they just continue as they have. They fall into the old pattern. They get along, it's fine, but if something sets one of them off, they are at war. There is very little forgiveness and very little support overall. I saw several examples of this. I'd seen several passages on the wiki where Brambleclaw, and the wiki and in essay videos, where Brambleclaw will make Squirrelflight do things, because he was deputy and then he became leader. He'll make Squirrelflight do things that a warrior normally doesn't, apprentice chores and stuff like that, if he's even slightly irritated with her. And like I said, if one slights the other, there's very little support there. They're not very forgiving of each other overall. In the end, this is just my opinion and what I see. Some things just don't last. Some things are good at first, but as time goes on, they just get worse. Some things are worse to begin with, but we can't see that until we take a step back. Warrior Cats has a lot of those scenarios, some just being because the writing team wasn't paying attention, some because that's just how they're written. This video was originally supposed to include a section about Ashfur, but the script is getting long, which means so is this video. I've already done a video about Ashfur, and you should definitely go watch it. It's fun, but I will say that what Ashfur brings to this relationship is also the idea that getting with someone else to get revenge on your partner is also a very not healthy thing at all, even if you're not technically together. To get with someone else in order to get any sort of like jab at your partner without thinking of that other person's feelings is not healthy. I'm not entirely sure that's what Squirrelflight did. I think she was genuinely upset and needed someone to support her that was not Brambleclaw. But I also think that unknowingly she caused a lot of damage to both Brambleclaw and Ashfur by doing that, and knowing that it would cause that. Like I said, I'm not trying to blame anyone in particular here. They both have done some really not great things. And this relationship as a whole is just one bad choice after another. I think another thing to note is that Brambleclaw was a fully fledged warrior in the new prophecy. When we are introduced to Squirrelflight, she is an apprentice, a young apprentice. There is an age gap here, and so there is a difference in maturity. Brambleclaw was a warrior before Squirrelflight was even born, even if it wasn't very long before she was born. I think the most serious thing to note is that Brambleclaw starts taking an interest in her while she is still an apprentice, and she him. This, if we are looking at it with base facts and following the rule that these cats act more like people than any normal cat would, this is grooming. I am not going to go into this right now because I want to do an entire video about grooming in warriors and how it looks very normal looking in, but if you look into the facts, there's some really not okay stuff that goes on. But it's just another reason that I don't like this ship at all. I think it's also important to note that this being the case, a lot of other behaviors in this relationship make sense if you go at it from that sort of toxicity. But I'm not going to get too far into it. Like I said, I will make a separate video about grooming in warriors. There's a lot more research that has to go on and into that. As someone who was groomed, I do take that topic very seriously. So, in any case, yes, I just accused cats of crimes. Yes, I don't like Squirrelflight and Brambleclaw as a couple. This is my video, and I can do what I want. That's all for now. shameless self-promotion. I have a Ko-Fi coffee. I still haven't figured out how to say it, and you should all go check it out. I have 2 YCH type commissions open right now, plus just some headshot commissions. Do you have a character that you want art of? I would be absolutely happy to draw them. And at the time of this video, if you use the code Aged Warriors, which is popping up on your screen right now, you can get 20% off your commission. That is code Aged Warriors. Link in the description. So thank you guys so much for watching. Y'all stay safe, drink some water, remember to breathe, and I will see you in the next video.